Namannam, 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 namannam.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome and thank you for joining us for today's Dharma Family Service, either in person or virtually via Zoom. I am Betty Takioka and I will be serving as your MC. Assisting at the temple with technical support are Zoom crew members Alan Matsumoto and Joey Gudsman. Corinne Chong is our organist, and once again, I will be leading the singing, so I expect very loud singing today, okay? Okay. Please rise and let us start the service with the Vandana and Tisarana. Please chant both the Pali and English parts together with Reverend Blayne. Those of you on Zoom, be sure you have muted your mics.
Exalted One, the enlightened One, the supremely awakened One. Gacchami Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Gacchami to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namanda, Butsunamanda, 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 Butsunamanda,
Please remain standing for an aspiration which I will share with you. These are the words of Shinran from the hymns of the Dharma ages. Entrust yourself to Amida's primal vow, through the benefits of being grasped, never to be abandoned. All who entrust themselves to the primal vow attain the supreme enlightenment. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Please be seated. It is now time for the offering of incense. We invite all Sangha members in attendance to please come up and offer incense if you wish, starting with the front rows and moving towards the back. Please use both incense burners. Let us observe a moment of silent meditation.
Namanam, 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 namanam.
Reverend Blayne will now lead us in chanting the sutra Juseige. Words can be found on page 55 of the Jodo Shinchu service book and on the screen. Again, page 55 in the service book.
The Buddha of infinite light and life made vows to embrace all beings equally without exception. These vows promise to create a perfect world where no suffering or evil exists and guides us to supreme awakening. The Juseige, or verses reaffirming the vows, is a poetic summary of the basic intention of the 48 vows made by me, the Buddha, to attain supreme enlightenment, to save all who are suffering, and to declare universal salvation through the name Namo Amida Butsu. We chant the words of the Buddha as a reminder of these great vows of compassion made to awaken all beings. Gagon Chosengan Yishimu Jodo Shingan Humanzo Seifu Joshonga Gao Munyogo Fui Dai Seishu Fusai Shobingu Seifu Joshonga Gashi Jobundo Myosho Chojipo Kukyo Mishomon Seifu Joshonga Ryokujin Shonen Joe Shubongyo Shigumu Jodo Ishoten Ninshi Jindeki Endaigo Fushomu Saido Shoujo Sankumyo Gosai Shuyakuna 지혜엔 메시콘모한 해소 그쇼와 그도 스단센 시몬 고소조 만소 이요로 지포 니치간 시주기 텐고온 흥엔 이시가이호소 고세 그도 그호 조다이시즈 세포시시그 규요이사이브 그소그시토그혼 간내신조만 도그위상가요 뇨붓무예치 스닷미프쇼 강가그웨디 도시사이쇼손 싱안야고가 나이센노간도 고그쇼텐닝 도의친묘게 묘도세이사이 노혼모나이싱 오조의 안나고 나만나브 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 나만나브
Please rise for singing of the Gatha Living Gratefully. Words can be found on the handouts and on the screen. Sing loud, okay? You know this song. Yes, please rise. Let's all live in harmony, trying to live us together always, living life with Buddha's love. Hand in hand we move along, let's all live in peace. Strive to be the best we can, living gratefully. Kindness to every living thing, showing our gratitude, loving all our friends and family, showing thanks for all they do. Hand in hand we move along, let's all live in peace. Strive to be the best we can, living gratefully. Good job, good job. Okay, you may be seated. Reverend Blayne will share today's Dharma message.
Good morning, everybody. So please join me in Gasho for an opening reflection. The words of Shinran Shonin from the Kyogyo Shinsho, the true teaching, practice, and realization. How joyous I am, my heart and mind being rooted in the Buddha ground of the universal vow, and my thoughts and feelings flowing within the Dharma ocean, which is beyond comprehension. I am deeply aware of the Tathagata's immense compassion, and I sincerely revere the benevolent care behind the Master's teaching activity. My joy grows even fuller, my gratitude and indebtedness even more compelling. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namman Dabutsu. Namman Dabutsu. Namman Dabutsu. So we celebrated Gotane last weekend with Reverend Kamuro. And this year marks the 850th birthday of Shinran Shonin. So born on May 21st, 1173, Shinran was a revolutionary thinker who shared the liberating teachings of Amida Buddha's compassionate vow. However, Shinran is revered not just as a great religious leader and a teacher and a scholar, but just as a remarkable human being, just someone who, in his ordinariness, he found greatness. And as a human being who lived a life of critical self-reflection and spiritual honesty, who called himself Gutoku, foolish, stubble-haired one. I've always marveled at his humility and his self-awareness and how profoundly relatable Shinran truly is. Shinran writes in his Gutoku Sho, or his Gutoku's notes, he says, the Shinjin of the wise is such that they are inwardly wise and outwardly foolish. The heart of Gutoku is such that I am inwardly foolish and outwardly wise. Right? How many of us can see ourselves in this way? But how many of us are actually like this, right? We have a good front, we have a good face that we put forward to the world, but yet on the inside, who we truly are is less than perfect or less than ideal, right? And so Shinran, right, takes a critical assessment of his life about who he is and his ordinariness, his humanness, right? And that becomes his source of freedom in the Nembutsu. And it was the realization of his own limitations as a human being and how he was incapable of achieving enlightenment on his own, through his own self-effort. Shinran awakened to the inconceivable working of all-inclusive wisdom and all-embracing compassion. symbolized as Amida Buddha. That is the heart of reality, which makes itself known to us as the name, as Namo Amida Butsu, which is the sound of the universe calling us home to ourselves. The other week, I was fortunate to attend the joint celebration of the 850th birthday of Shinran Shonin and the 800th anniversary of the establishment of the Jodo Shinshu teachings and the 17th World Buddhist Women's Convention in Kyoto, Japan. I joined a delegation of almost 180 people from Hawaii who participated in this special commemoration that happens only once every 50 years. This is my only chance probably to go. I think I'll be 98 the next time that comes around. And so, right, I think it was Reverend Kamoto shared, right, the phrase, right, Ichigo Ichie last week, right? One moment, one encounter, right? Each precious moment is an opportunity that will never come again. And so the Buddha's teachings, right, help us to realize that life is precious and beautiful because it is impermanent. And because of this, that we should live well, live fully as best as we can each moment of our lives, because we don't know when our next breath will happen, right? And so the celebration was a meaningful opportunity to express our appreciation to Shinran Shonin. Do you know where his picture is in the altar? Which one? Yes, on this side, on the right-hand side here. And so we offered gratitude for this universal teaching of the Nembutsu, which excludes no one. And we're able to live with peace of mind, entrusting ourselves to Amida Buddha's compassionate working. The celebration was held at our mother temple, the Nishi Honganji, and the convention was held at the Kyoto International Conference Center. We had an amazing time joining with thousands of fellow Nembutsu followers from the Buddhist Churches of America on the mainland, from Canada, from South America, and throughout Japan to celebrate these joyful events. How fitting the theme of this joint celebration was a life of Nembutsu enables us to appreciate every encounter. We truly had a once-in-a-lifetime experience celebrating our joy in the Nembutsu. Our current Gomonshu, Kojun Otani, who is a direct descendant of Shinran Shonin. So what's interesting in the Honganji tradition is that our head priests, our head abbots, the Gomonshu, are all direct blood relations of Shinran Shonin, right? So now we are 850 years later, and we are still encountering Shinran in a different form, right? In a different way. Not just through his writings, but through a blood relation of the head priests. And so Gomonshu Otani shares an appreciation for Shinran's understanding of the Pure Land Way in the first part of his gratitude for the Jodo Shinshu teaching. He says, Namo Amida Butsu, entrust yourself to me. I will liberate you just as you are. This is the calling voice of Amida. My blind passions are embraced in the Buddha's awakening, so the Buddha calls to me, I will liberate you just as you are. Gratefully responding to the Buddha's call, I find that I am already on the path that leads to the Pure Land, and the Nembutsu flows freely from my thankful heart. Here, Gomonshu captures the essence of Mida's compassionate vow to awaken each one of us who are lost and confused and living in this world of samsara and trapped by our karmic bonds. And this vow of liberation is expressed as Namo Amida Butsu, which is the calling voice of Amida, urging us to wake up from our spiritual slumber. Our natural response to this newfound awareness in Amida's working is our heartfelt saying of Namo Amida Butsu, of the Nembutsu in gratitude. for being made to see who we truly are, made to see compassion in our lives. This is a life of Shinjin, a life of the entrusting heart, which is the realization of our Buddhahood made possible through an awakening of faith. What a remarkable way of living our ordinary everyday lives with a sense of humility, a sense of wonder, a sense of joy. A path of gratitude, which opens up a whole new world of understanding in which we realize that we do not journey alone, but are embraced and supported by infinite light itself. How grateful we are. What is remarkable about the Pure Land path that Shinran shared is that the practice of Nembutsu is grounded in the midst of our everyday lives. After leaving Mount Hiei, so Shinran was ordained at the age of 9. I can't imagine having a vocation at that age, but he was ordained at age 9. And for the next 20 years, he studied on the mountain on Mount Hiei, practicing and studying and trying to rid himself of all these attachments and to practice perfectly these teachings to attain liberation. But after 20 years, he realized he was no closer to achieving enlightenment than when he first started. Wow, he felt like a failure, right? And how many of us in our lives have tried hard at something and worked hard, but yet we came up short, right? Shinran did the same. That's why, for me, Shinran is so relatable, so understandable, because we've all been there in one way or another in our lives. And so, after 20 years, he left the mountain. And he married, he raised a family, and lived as an ordinary life of a householder, while continuing to say the Nembutsu as his exclusive practice. Because of this, Shinran considered himself neither monk nor lay, living in a spiritually liminal space, this in-between space, right, of neither a full priest or full monk, but neither just as a layperson, that he was something in between. That he was affirmed both the sacred and the profane in his life. Professor Takamado Shigaraki describes his spiritual journey as walking the path of the Nembutsu of everyday life, in which we think on the Buddha and say the Nembutsu in whatever condition, whether laughing or crying, angry or happy that we may find ourselves in. Through this Nembutsu, practiced every day of our lives, a path opens up before us. And on that path, we are able to realize the experience of true awakening and attain Buddhahood. This is the path that Shinran experienced and has revealed to us. So what happens when we live this life of Nembutsu? Shinran describes a person who lives with this entrusting heart of Shinjin, as a true disciple of the Buddha. Professor Shigaraki shares, Shinran then explains that a true disciple of the Buddha is endowed in mind and body with two kinds of benefits. Hence, in Shin Buddhism, Shinjin means that we live with hearts and minds that are hard yet soft, gentle yet resolute. This is the fundamental image of the lives of those who live in Shinjin, living with a soft and gentle heart and a firm and resolute mind is the ultimate benefit of the Nembutsu of everyday life. Right? So when we live with a confidence, when we live with a certain sense of resoluteness, right, we can live with our minds open, unafraid of life, unafraid what we encounter, right? That anything that happens to us, we can endure, that we can persevere, that we are able to overcome because we have the grounding of the Nembutsu as the foundation of our lives. Gomonshu Otani shares an appreciation for this way of living in the second part of his gratitude for the Jodo Shinshu teaching. He says, living with the Dharma as my guide softens my rigid heart and mind. Gratitude for the gift of life I have received frees me from becoming lost in greed and anger, and allows me to share a warm smile and speak gentle words. Sharing in the joy and sadness of others, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest. Ichigo Ichie. This is the benefit of a life of gratitude, which is made possible through the compassionate working of Amida Buddha. This transformation of our heart and mind shifts our self-centered way of viewing life, little by little. In his writing, Shinran talks about the ice of our blind passions becomes the water of enlightenment, right? That trickle by trickle, as the light of wisdom, the light of compassion shines in our lives, helping us to see ourselves, helping to melt the ice that keeps us trapped. Then the water of enlightenment flows. Our life becomes one with this working of wisdom and compassion, always. And so Shinran writes in the Kyogyo Shinsho, sentient beings who encounter this light have the three defilements swept away, and they become soft and gentle in body and mind. They dance with joy, and the good mind arises in them. When those suffering in pain and travail in the three evil courses see this light, they all find respite and are freed of afflictions. How fortunate we are to be able to receive Shinran's profound wisdom 800 years since the establishment of his teachings. And so the 800 years, right, is kind of attributed to the year that he began writing down his thoughts in his Kyogyo Shinsho, in the true teaching practice realization. That is kind of, we attribute to the foundation and the beginning of Jodo Shinshu was when he began writing. And he began writing throughout his rest of his life, right? And so we have these amazing, amazing writings that Shinran shared. And so at the Kyoto National Museum, I was able to see a marvelous exhibit on Shinran Shonin in celebration of this 850th anniversary of his birth. And the museum held these rare artifacts and even some of his writing in his own handwriting. These scrolls and these other images and so amazing. I couldn't take any pictures. Pictures weren't allowed. But being able to kind of walk through this exhibit, to be able to see Shinran's own handwriting, wow, how amazing, how a rare opportunity. And that we're able to access Shinran in such a close and personal way all these years later. And so how grateful we are to celebrate, have been able to celebrate his 850th birthday as a worldwide community of Shinshu followers, living the Nembutsu of everyday life that he shared with us. And so in reflecting on this significance of the celebration, Shinran's heartfelt words in the Shozo Matsu Watsan, the hymns of the Dharma ages, in which we know as the Ondokusan, comes alive with new meaning. Such is the benevolence of Amida's great compassion, that we must strive to return it even to the breaking of our bodies. Such is the benevolence of the masters and the true teachers, that we must endeavor to repay it even to our bones becoming dust. How profoundly grateful we are to Shinran for sharing the teaching of Amida Buddha's compassionate vow, which offers us a life of spiritual hope, transformation, and change through the Nembutsu. And so in closing, let me share with you a few photos of Nishi Honganji and the celebration. So can you recognize those of us in the picture? So I think everyone is here who went on the trip, actually. So Betty and Norman and Myrna and Linda and myself. So we were the 5 people from Honohonganji that joined the 180 from the rest of Hawaii at the celebration. And so this is on the grounds of Nishihonganji, in front of the Amida-do, the Hall of Amida. So this is the front gate, one of the gates in front of Nishihonganji. So Nishihonganji is a centuries-old complex, right? So a temple has stood on this location in Kyoto since 1591. So over 400 years, so actually, should be precise, 432 years. So now it consists of 2 main worship halls. So the one on the right is the Amida-do, which is the Hall of Amida, which enshrines a wooden statue of Amida Buddha, just like our statue. And so over time, this current structure was rebuilt in 1790. So it is about 263 years old right now. And then the hall on the left, which is actually the bigger hall, is the Goedo, or the Founders Hall, which was rebuilt in 1636. So it's about 378 years old. And so, you know, this is in the Goedo. So the Goedo enshrines an image of Shinran Shonin. So this image here in the center is Shinran Shonin, our founder. And so this statue is supposedly special in that it supposedly contains some of Shinran's ashes that was mixed into the lacquer that was used to lacquer this statue of Shinran. So, but you know, so many people, just like Shakyamuni Buddha, everyone has some ashes or some relic of them somewhere. So who knows? Yeah. But we like to, you know, believe and to revere that this is a special statue that does contain some of Shinran that we can encounter and touch. And so this, this is the altar during the celebration. And so it was richly decorated and beautifully decorated for that event. This is the altar in the Amida-do, so where you can see the image of Amida Buddha. So this is some of the audience, some of the Hawaii members from various temples at the celebration that morning. And so normally, there are no chairs in the temples. Yeah, it's all tatami, and so most people you have to sit Japanese style, seiza. But for this event, they actually put down flooring over the entire hall, and they put chairs, which were all bolted down to that flooring. Amazing, right? So this is again an image of the celebration. This is the kancho bell at Nishihonganji. So just some of the artwork in the Founders Hall in the Goedo. So it was recently, actually it was restored several decades ago, but this is the intricate and beautiful artwork on the walls and the ceilings of the temple. Yep, some of the lanterns in the hall. Again, more intricate artwork. And this is a centuries-old ginkgo tree, one of 2 that are on the grounds of the temple complex. And so it doesn't even look like much, right? But in the fall, when the leaves change, it turns a bright yellow and the leaves fall, right? So quite beautiful. And so again, the image of Shinran Shonin, who we came to celebrate at this celebration. And so, Nishihonganji is also has numerous architectural and artistic treasures, including the Hyunkaku and the Shoin chambers, which are kind of two areas that we were able to kind of take a tour of after the celebration, right? And they contain these beautiful screens and paintings and other artifacts that have been designated as important national treasures of Japan. And in 1994, were also named a UNESCO World Heritage place or site. And so if you have a chance to visit Kyoto, please take some time to visit the Nishihonganji and join the 6 a.m. service. Yes, they have 6 a.m. service. Linda actually woke up for the service that we went to, so every day they have a service at 6 or 6:30. And so the service begins in the Amida-do, and so we chant the Sambutsuge, or hymn in praise of the Buddha, and then we walk over to the Goedo after that, and then we chant the Shoshinge, written by Shinran, and then we hear a Dharma message by one of the priests there. And so that's the daily ritual that happens at Nishihonganji, very early in the morning. So, take some time, if you're able to, spend some time on these sacred grounds and to just marvel at the beauty, right, of faith, the beauty of this tradition that we are part of. And so please join me in Gasho, and let's recite the Nembutsu in gratitude, joy, and awareness. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namman Dabutsu, Namman Dabutsu, Namman Dabutsu. Thank you, everybody. Oh, and actually, I will have this book in the back. This actually, you're free to take a look at it. It has great pictures of Nishihonganji. So.
Reverend Blayne, and for sharing your pictures. The rest of us that accompanied him, yeah, it was really a great experience. And up until I went to the celebration, I did not know that there was a separate hall with Shinran as the main image. And then now I know why it's called the Founders Hall, right? Because he did found Jodo Shinshu. Yeah, so it was very interesting. We're so used to just seeing the Amida as the main statue, but in that hall, there's that Shinran's image up front and center. So that was kind of a very interesting experience, I think, for all of us. Yeah, and the grounds were beautiful. And I think if you do visit, if you make an appointment ahead of time, we can ask, like, if you wanted to go this year, you would ask Reverend Blayne, and he would make an arrangements to have a guide, English-speaking guide, take you around a tour of the grounds, right? Where normally you wouldn't be able to go. Because I remember on my first trip to Japan, we didn't have an appointment, so we were just able to walk just in the front area, I think, and you can go to the bookstore and all that, but we couldn't go to the back where usually the public is not allowed to go, I guess, to preserve the area. But if you make an appointment, then you get to see these special areas. So if anybody is interested in going, that would be, I think, the way to go. Yeah. Okay, thank you again, Reverend Blayne. Yeah. So Maki Yamaguchi will now lead us in unison reading of our pledge. Words can be found on the handouts and on the screen above. Please join her in reciting the words out loud.
Reaching out to others, I will share a smile and gentle words, just like the Buddha who always calls out with aloha. Breaking away from my greed, anger, and ignorance, I will try to live in peace and harmony, just like the Buddha who shares tranquility and kindness with all. Moving forward from self-centeredness, I will share a life of joy and sorrow with others, just like the Buddha whose caring heart always embraces us. Realizing that I live because of others, I will strive to live life to the fullest with an attitude of gratitude, just like the Buddha who promises to embrace us all. Namamida Butsu. Namamida. Namamida.
Thank you, Maki. We'll now have the offertory presentation. Kira? Mahalo for your generosity, everyone. Thank you, Kira. Please rise as we will conclude this service with singing of the Gatha Nimbutsu.
Namandab, 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 namandab.
You may be seated. This concludes today's service, and here are some announcements. The upcoming schedule of services, events, and reminders. Regular Dharma Family Service will be held next Sunday, June 4 at 10 o'clock a.m. Sunday, June 11, Boy Scouts will be sponsoring the annual military remembrance service at 10 o'clock a.m. Father's Day service will be observed on Sunday, June 18 at 10 o'clock a.m. Please make every effort to attend, as our very special guest speaker will be Bishop Eric Matsumoto. As you know, his term as Bishop of Honpa Honganji Mission of Hawaii will be ending as of June 30th this year. Therefore, this will be the last opportunity to hear his Dharma message as bishop and to express our appreciation for his 12 years of serving as our bishop. In addition, he will be bringing the original sandalwood image of Amida Buddha that is the companion to the current Gohonzon in our altar. I think the original one had a crack in it. Is that what it is? Yeah. So he had been safeguarding it in his office, but it was sent to Japan and it got repaired, and he actually brought it back on this trip when he came back. So now he wants to bring it here to let us see what the original statue is like. So it would be great if you could all come and appreciate the original sandalwood statue that was here at this temple long, long time ago. And also to express our appreciation, we would like to have a little a gathering of refreshments after he speaks at the service. So maybe like finger foods or heavy poo-poo style, since it'll be close to lunchtime. So if you would be willing to, if you would bring some of your, what is it called? I can't think of the word. Anyway, share some of your refreshments. Don't have to be anything special, but some kind of pupus or whatever you wish to make, and we can celebrate and we can thank him for his many years of serving as our bishop, especially if he's a homegrown Kona boy. So, okay, so please join us and help us out with that. That would be great. So as a reminder, be sure to open, read, and click on the attachments and interesting links that were included with Reverend Blayne's weekly update, which he emailed this past Friday. And the 2023 Temple membership update forms have been mailed out as well as attached to Reverend Blayne's emails. So please be sure to complete and return them as soon as possible. Mahalo. And don't forget, free COVID tests are still available. You know, we think it's pretty gone, but we still have cases coming up, so it's still better to be safe than sorry. These kits are still available, and the expiration is not until October 23, so please pick them up if you need them, okay? So any other announcements, Reverend Blayne?
Just to note, in my weekly email, there was a registration form for Bishop Matsumoto's Mahalo Luncheon, which actually will be happening on Oahu. If you happen to be on Oahu on July 8th, you're welcome to attend, but please use a registration form. So that'll be happening at the Ala Moana Hotel on July 8th. So
that's the official one, but we're going to do our own over here, because then everybody else can join in, yeah? Okay.
Just a brief announcement. This is more associated with my work than church, but on June 17th, which would be the day before the Father's Day service, we're going to have a project right out here in the parking lot that's called Car Fit. I'll be diplomatic and say it's kind of intended for our mature drivers. But what we will have is pretty much what it sounds like. You can make an appointment. We will have technicians here that have had some training. We'll even have an occupational therapist, a retired occupational therapist standing by. And we will make sure your car fits you. As people mature, one of the things that happens is people tend to sit too close to the steering wheel, with a lot of cars having airbags now, or they're not sitting high enough in the car. So those are the kind of things. We'll look at that for you. We'll make suggestions. We're not going to change anything in your car you don't want to have changed. And then you'll leave afterwards with what are suggestions and what you can do to improve your fit for the car. So if you're interested, you can see me after church today, and we make appointments about every half an hour. It takes, give or take, about half an hour to run through the checklist with you. If not, I'll also be providing some information to the Reverend to include in his weekly update, and then you can call. It'll have my cell phone number to call and make your appointments. Thank you. Right now, it's on their CarFit website, so it is open technically to the general public, but we're announcing it now too. So, because right now we have one person already that made an appointment. They got their information off the website. But if you guys make your appointment, you get first choice at it. Yep. Right now we're running from about 9 to 1. Yeah. And we have a couple stations, so it'll be like 2 stations every half an hour or so. So we still have appointments available. Thank you.
Joey was nice. He said for us mature people, it's really us old buggers, right?
Yeah.
Who don't know. You might be driving. Like me, I'm very close to the steering wheel, but I can't extend my leg anymore, so I don't know what we can do about that. But anyway, they might have something you can stick on the gas pedal or whatever, but anyway, okay. So, one more thing. We have some guests this morning who are sisters of Lily Ushiroda, Lenora, and Jean. Thank you for joining us this morning. And where is Lily? Lily's not here today? Oh, she's on the mainland. Okay, well, thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Okay. So, any other announcements? If not,
also,
yeah.
just to welcome Raymond.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Takiue family. Yes, Raymond and his son.
Jaden and Arlene.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us all the way from Honolulu. We appreciate it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So those of you on Zoom, when you're ready to leave, just tap or click on the Leave Meeting button on your screen. Those of you here in person, refreshments will be served in the conference room. And mahalo to Tiffany Kaneko, Linda Nagai, Myrna Kunihiro, and myself, and anyone else who brought goodies to share. Your attendance today is most sincerely appreciated. So please stay, and we hope to see you at future Sunday services. Thank you very much.